Good morning to all the Timeouters this morning, and welcome this morning to Timeout. My name is Jack Vint, and I trust everybody had a great Heritage Day, that you did something special. And if you did something extraordinary that one's in you and you want to boast about it, please put it in the comment section so that we can drool over what you did yesterday on Heritage Day. Now, this morning, as you can see, I've got a banner around my neck. No, I'm not a car guard. I'm not begging for money. Although it could be, in South Africa, it could be contrived as that. But this morning I'm going to be speaking about something this morning. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be speaking about two specific different things. It's like a double whammy that I'm going to give you this morning. Call it a heritage special on Timeout. And but before I get there, I just want to greet everybody and say I've read your comments. I see some of you that haven't commented for a while have commented. Thank you very much. And for those who have shared, I'm really impressed, because when you want to encourage somebody that maybe you know or don't know with a message or talk that has inspired you, it's just great to share it. It's an easy way. So please don't stop sharing it to friends, to people, because you never know, something that you share with somebody may just change their lives. So thank you very much for those who have done so. And this morning I want you to comment, but I want to ask you not just to comment once, but to comment a few times about what I'm going to be saying on the subject. Tell me your thoughts. Maybe you want to add something, maybe you want to disagree. I am not offended by any comment. I want to take it as value, because I value your comments, because you take time to listen to Timeout. I need to hear what you feel and what your thoughts are. So I really want you to be aggressive this morning and comment and more than once to tell me, this is what I'm thinking about what you're saying, if you can do that this morning. So without any further ado, I want to start this morning on this subject that, and I hope you can see it clearly. I've got two boards, one's here and one's behind me, and I'm going to swap boards just now. But I'm going to start with why perfectionism does not equal perfect. Now, I don't know about you, but have you ever heard people say that person is a perfectionist? Or perhaps they've said that about you, that you are a perfectionist. Now, I don't want to speak about people this morning and label them, but I thought that what I'm going to say this morning is about something that affects all of us. And you may be surprised at this statement, but you know what? I believe that every person, most people, let me rather say that, if not everybody, has got some form of perfectionism in them. They've got some area in their lives that they strive to be perfect in. So in a way, we all are perfectionists in a small way in areas of our lives. Maybe in some people it's much more, but I just want to speak to us in general this morning to say, why I believe perfectionism does not equal perfect. And I say that because, what is perfect? And how do we know that we get there if we get there? So if I don't know what perfect is, how will I ever attain perfection if I don't know what it looks like? Now, I know what it looks like in the lives of people that can't get there. It looks like something that you set a goal for, and the moment you get close to it, the goalposts keep moving, and it keeps moving. So you never obtain your goal, which you think is perfection. But it isn't really perfection. It's just somebody moving the goalposts. Perhaps that somebody is others, perhaps it's you. But it creates frustration, because you say, I just can't get there. It's striving to be perfect in an area that you don't know what that perfect looks like, and you don't know what that area is, because the goalposts are moving all the time. And so I don't believe that it's possible to achieve perfection, because who knows what perfection looks like? And if we don't know what it looks like, how will we know when we arrive at it? So now I want to say to you, to just relax you, change how you see any area in your life that you feel you're trying to be a perfectionist in, because perfectionism does not equal perfect. So how can I overcome that? This is one simple way that I can show you that I implement in my life. And this is that you decide up front what perfection is for you. In other words, you define perfection. You decide what is perfect for you. Now, I'm not against us striving for a goal. I'm going to get there just now. I'm going to speak about that. I'm not against us setting high standards or wanting to be better people. I'm simply saying the myth of perfectionism and being perfect is a myth because nobody knows what it looks like. That's why the frustration is there, because how do we know that we ever get there? Because it seems like the people that strive for perfection never get to perfection because maybe it doesn't exist. The way to make it exist is you decide. I decide what is perfect for me. I set that as a goal. I strive to it. So when I get to it, I know I've arrived at a point where I am comfortable, and then I feel the frustration goes. I can always set the boundary a little bit higher, and I can say, to me, the next step of perfection would be this goal, but at least I've defined the goal and I know what's perfect for me. So when I arrive at it in that area of my life, there's no frustration, just fulfillment that I've done what I set out to do. So I end off with this, that perfectionism does not equal perfect in anybody's life. So let's decide that we decide what is perfect for us, and then we strive for that. Well, I'm finished with my Sigmund Freud segment now, and I'm just trying to get this piece of paper. I was hanging it up this morning. I'm just trying to get it, my next heading there. I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to stand a little bit back, but it's knowing your limits and pushing your boundaries is my next segment. Can you see it there? All right, knowing your limits and setting your boundaries. Now, this is a much more light-hearted segment. So now that we finished with that Sigmund Freud section, let's get on with this section. Now, this leads into what I've just been saying, that I really feel that we need to know our limits. Knowing your limits is not a bad thing, because it makes you feel that you can't self-destruct, you won't burn out. There's merit to knowing your limits as a person, because that's what makes us human. Pushing our boundaries is another thing. Pushing our boundaries is much more exciting, because pushing our boundaries is what makes us superhuman. Now, I hear what you're saying. I want to be superhuman. I'm going to get there in a moment. But let's look at the first one. What makes us human is setting or knowing our boundaries. It's like a comfort zone. It's like I'm in control. It means, it's a safe haven for me. Now, therein lies my problem. My problem, that if we are just going to hide behind knowing our limits as a safe place, we will never push our boundaries. So knowing your limits, if that gives me a license to play it safe, then it's not a good thing. If that gives me excuse not to go further, then it's not a good thing to say, I'm just human. When people say I'm just human, it makes us feel we've got an excuse to fail. It makes us feel that somehow we've got an excuse not to be more. So we should not say I'm just human as an excuse. We should say that as a reality, to say, maybe I can't do everything, but we should not hide behind the excuse that we're just human, that we know our limits. That brings me to the second point, pushing our boundaries. Now, this is going to be exciting. Now, I want you to just think about a toddler. And I was thinking about a toddler, which is my son Nathan, my grandson rather, Nathan. And I haven't seen him for a while. He's been on holiday without me. And I was thinking about Nathan. He's now a pre-toddler. Which means he's coming into toddlerhood. I don't know if there's a word like that, but I've just invented it. And he's almost a year, he's 9 months, but he's already excelling and he's doing all things that toddlers do. So I thought that's a good example. How do we push our boundaries? How do we stop saying that we just play it safe and know our limits and just be human? How do we be superhuman? Now, that's a good question. We are all superhuman if we believe it, because we have not just a soul and a body, we also have a spirit. Because we have a spirit, we were created that way, we are supernatural. And because we're supernatural, we are superhuman. We can see things in the supernatural. We can experience things in the supernatural, and we can even do things in the supernatural. That's what makes us different from all the animals and all the other created beings. We have a spirit, and we are supernatural, superhuman. We can push boundaries, and we can go beyond where other people or other things cannot do it. We can do it. Now, how do we push boundaries? Look at a toddler. Look at a toddler. You know, when I look at my grandson, I see that he is obsessed with movement. The moment he started learning that he can go from static to movement, he was making up with it, with everything in him. It was like almost like he had lost time, and now he was like an energy bunny. He was going where that was wound up with and got batteries in it and wound up. And the moment you put him down, he was off he goes. Movement. If you watch a toddler, they're always on the move, because they feel they need to get to where they need to get. They're on a journey, and they need to get there. And I feel one of the ways that we can push our boundaries is by, like those toddlers, being like a toddler, being on the move. The moment we become static, the moment we stand still, the moment we feel we've got nowhere more to go, we stop pushing boundaries. We need to be on the move, like a turbo, like that toddler. The second thing that I've noticed about my grandchild, and about any toddler you've noticed probably, is that they are always reaching for stuff. The moment they understand they can use their arm and their hand to reach out, they start to reach out. Isn't it interesting? One of the ways to push boundaries, I want to encourage you, is to reach out. Don't stand with your hands folded. Reach out. And when those toddlers reach out, they are so enthusiastic. They are so full of faith to believe they're going to get it. Even if you pull that thing away that they're reaching for, they will go again and again and again, because they believe they can get it. Until they reach and got it, they don't stop. And I believe that we should be doing that. We should be reaching out, because when you reach out, your objective is to touch something. When you touch something, you start to feel something. When you feel something, you start to believe something. When you believe something, your whole world can change. So we need to start reaching out like a toddler, to push our boundaries, to push out against our boundaries, and to extend our boundaries. The third thing I found when I watched out a toddler, and especially my grandson Nathan, is that they are always exploring. It's almost like somebody gave them a right to be the great explorer. They think that the world is their oyster, and they're out there to discover things. One of the things that we need to do to again push our boundaries is to go back and discover things. I don't know about you, but even at my age, sometimes I look at certain things that I haven't seen before. It's like a discovery. I say, gee, I didn't know that existed. I didn't know that that's how things worked. I've never heard that before. If you've ever said that to yourself and almost felt like, but I should know that. No, you shouldn't. Your life should be about a discovery. You need to explore things. You need to not stop exploring. And we need to really start discovering new things in our lives. When we wake up, we need to be that a great explorer, saying, let's go and find out what's out there, and let's go and push that boundary beyond where it is right now. So I've learned that that's something they do wonderfully. And lastly, what I've learned from a toddler, or from Nathan, who is reaching toddlerhood, is they reset their day. Now, I can't tell you how important this is, so listen carefully. It's like, I don't know if you've ever heard the saying Groundhog Day. It's a movie where a guy wakes up, and every day he's in this loop where he goes back to where he wakes up, and the whole day is the same. And he's caught up in that same day. Groundhog Day, it's called. To toddlers, every day is a Groundhog Day. They start out as if this is the first day of their lives. They've never seen anything, they've never experienced anything, and they're so excited to do it. Don't you wish that we could be like that every day is Groundhog Day. Every day is a reset day. We reset our day because then everything smells good because it's the first time we smell it. Everything looks good. It's the first time we see it. Everything feels good because it's the first time we touch it. Everything we think about is a great thought because it's the first time we thought about it. We reset our day just like a toddler. Now, I want to encourage you to do something with me. In the comments, for your sake, I want you to write it out for yourself. Write those 4 things out. When you say, I want to push my boundaries, Jack, I want you to write those things out for me and say, I want to be on the move. You can say your name or you can say, I want to be on the move. I want to reach out. I want to explore. And lastly, I want to reset my day every day so that every day is a new day. And then if I do all those things, write it in the comments. I'm going to push those boundaries all the way back. I'm not going to hide behind my humanity. I'm going to be superhuman and supernatural. You can do it. My name is Jack Vint. You've been watching Timeout. I'm going to be listening for your comments and reading them. And I pray that this will be a great weekend for you. And I'll catch you next week. God bless.
You unravel me with a melody. You surround me